So the next portion has to do with the HDL cholesterol, the good cholesterol. And we're going to talk about how HDL is formed and then how exercise actually improves HDL levels in the body. So when you tell someone, hey, it's good that you exercise because it improves your cardiovascular health, well, we're going to talk about how exercise actually increases the number of HDLs in the body. First, we look at the structure of HDL and why it has a protective and cholesterol lowering effect on our body. Is that again we have our apolipoprotein ApoA1 that we're familiar with previously, and these apolipoproteins have properties that protect the HDL against oxidative modification, which just basically means those free radicals were to modify the LDL into a modified LDL. Well, these apolipoproteins, ApoA1, protects the HDL from that modification. At the same time, the HDL also has a protein enzyme called peroxidase. It has an antioxidant properties as well, which basically means it protects the HDL from becoming modified from the free radicals. So unlike the LDL, which can become modified by the free radicals, HDL, between the ApoA1 and the protein peroxidase that's found on the HDL, that prevents its becoming modified by the free radicals. So that's an important understanding of why HDL is considered the good cholesterol, because A, it can't be modified or changed by free radicals. At the same time, then it also is able to pick up that free cholesterol. Well, how are HDLs made? Well, here's HDL metabolism and how it's made. Here we have the liver, we have the blood, and then we have the peripheral tissues containing macrophages that have cholesterol. So think of this area, the peripheral tissues with excess cholesterol in them. So we're going to start here in the liver, where we have the liver starts the process of making new HDLs by first starting to make ApoA1, the apolipoprotein A1. It is secreted into the blood, where then it combines with free cholesterol circulating in the blood. So what happens is the ABCA1, a protein made by the liver, will help combine the ApoA1 along with the free cholesterol to form what's called a nascent HDL. Now, a nascent HDL is HDL that is unable to pick up excess cholesterol at this point, but it's a precursor to a mature HDL. At the same time, macrophages contain the ABCA1 protein that also helps with the formation of the free cholesterol from the macrophage, combining with the ApoA1 from the liver to form additional nascent HDLs. Finally, nascent HDLs are formed into mature HDLs by an enzyme called LCAT, lecithin cholesterol acetyltransferase. And what it does is the LCAT will help the HDL, the nascent HDL, form into a mature HDL by picking up excess cholesterol and changing the proteins and conformation of the proteins within the nascent HDL in order to become a mature HDL. And this mature HDL is what we measure in the blood as the number of HDLs in our blood. And now it's a functioning HDL that's able to pick up excess cholesterol. Again, the half-life or functioning period of an HDL, mature HDL, in a healthy individual is about 48 hours or 2 days. Interestingly enough, the formation of mature HDLs in the blood will cause macrophages through a protein ABCG1, ATP binding cassette subfamily G member 1. Yeah, that's a mouthful. Again, on the exam, you don't need to worry about what these stand for. I will give you the entire name, but you do need to know what they do. In this case, the ABCG1 will take cholesterol from the macrophage and place it within the mature HDL, help clearing the tissues of excess cholesterol. The LXR, there's an LXR, liver X receptor, that's within the macrophage that helps control the ABCA1 and ABCG1. It's unknown exactly how this works, but they do know that it controls the function of ABCA1 and G1. You don't need to know too much about this at this point, the LXR. But now what we have here is a mature HDL. So steps essentially 1 through 6 have to do with the development of a mature HDL. Now there are two paths by which cholesterol can be delivered to the liver. The healthy pathway in people who are normal weight, eat healthy and exercise, and the unhealthy way, steps 8 and 9, in which people are suffering from obesity, lack of exercise, and poor diet. In the healthy pathway, what happens is the mature HDL will make its way into the liver and combine with the SRBI receptor on the liver and deliver its cholesterol before then the HDL moving back out into the blood to pick up new cholesterol that's in the blood. That's what you want to have happen. However, in someone suffering from obesity, poor diet, and lack of exercise, they actually will go through an unhealthy pathway. And you actually have an enzyme called CETP, cholesterol ester transfer protein. And what this does is it causes the HDL to give up its cholesterol to LDL and VLDL, but the LDL and VLDL will give up its triglyceride. So I'll say that again. CETP is going to be upregulated. It's a protein found in the blood. And if you remember before, low amounts in the blood, it was good for us. However, in an unhealthy individual, it's upregulated too much and can cause problems. In this particular case, it causes the exchange of HDL, giving up its cholesterol to LDL, and LDL giving up its triglycerides to HDL. The problem with this is that once HDL loses its cholesterol in this way and gains triglyceride, it loses its ability to take up excess cholesterol in the blood. In other words, this process through CETP reduces the number of functioning HDLs in our blood. At the same time, because LDL now has a whole bunch of cholesterol, more than normal, it now becomes more atherogenic. Some of it may return back to the liver through the LDL receptor to deposit some of its cholesterol. However, most of this LDL will remain in the blood, making its way back to the coronary arteries to cause plaque formation or atherosclerosis that we learned in lesson number 2. At the same time, in an unhealthy individual, this enzyme called endothelial lipase is going to be upregulated. And what it does is it breaks down mature HDLs into non-functioning nascent HDLs. So steps number 8, 9, and 10 occur in an unhealthy individual suffering from obesity, poor diet, lack of exercise, that essentially reduces the number of mature HDLs in the blood. So really, this is the formation of HDLs in our body. 1 through 6 have to do with the formation of new mature HDLs, while 7 has to do with the docking of the HDL in a healthy pathway to deliver cholesterol to the liver. And steps 8, 9, and 10 are the unhealthy pathway by which a reduction in HDL will occur. At this point, pause the video, take a moment, making sure that you understand these steps. Put these in your own words. Use the practice on Blackboard where you can put these in proper order, making sure you do these time and time again until you have a good understanding of it. Once that is done, come back to the video and we'll finish where we left off. Because the next step has to do with what happens with exercise. What can exercise do to improve the number of HDLs? So assuming that you practice and have a good understanding of this pathway, we move on to what happens with exercise. Well, the first thing that exercise does to increase HDL production is that exercise increases the production of ABCA1 in liver and macrophage, which increases the formation of nascent HDL and ultimately mature HDLs. So in other words, exercise will increase the number of ABCA1 made by the liver and also on the macrophage. The more you have of ABCA1, the greater the chance of ApoA1 and the free cholesterol in the blood combining. And more nascent HDL increases the chance of having more mature HDLs. There are some other ways by which exercise can increase the number of HDLs in the body. It has to do with the delivering of how HDL delivers its cholesterol to the liver. Again, you have the healthy pathway. Exercise increases this healthy pathway by which HDL delivers cholesterol combining or binding to the SRBI. And that's what you want to have happen, because that ensures that the mature HDL, once it's delivered as cholesterol to the liver, will detach and make its way back out to the blood to be reused. At the same time, these down arrows indicate decreases. So exercise decreases the amount of CETP in the blood. By doing so, it decreases the amount of that exchange between HDL and LDL, VLDL, between cholesterol and triglycerides. It also reduces the binding of LDL and VLDL to the LDL receptor on the liver. At the same time, exercise reduces the enzyme endothelial lipase. So taken together, what happens is 8, 9, and 10 is exercise ensures that mature HDL will stay intact and functional and prevents its destruction by CETP and endothelial lipase. So these are the ways by which exercise improves the number of HDLs in our body. So take a moment, look at this slide, review this slide, making sure you have a good understanding. One other thing before we get to the think and review questions has to do with how alcohol actually increases HDL levels as well. Alcohol increases HDLs in a dose-dependent manner. It's been shown that wine increases HDLs, as well as beer can increase the number of HDLs in the body. Again, that's in moderation as well. Okay? But the main thing that to focus on here is that how exercise improves the number of HDLs in our body. So when you're working with a client, instructing them to increase their exercise to improve their health, this is one way by which they do it. Before we move on to the thinking review questions, make sure that you have a good understanding of how HDL is made in the body and these 10 steps, along with how exercise increases or decreases these different steps. Once this is done, we're going to move on to the thinking review questions, and that'll be done in a separate video. So at this time, make sure you pause and practice HDL metabolism before moving on to the thinking review questions.